Hey everyone, this is Ian from Devolutions. Today, let's take a look at an exciting functionality offered by our Devolutions Privileged Access Management product called Any Identity. Now, traditionally, PAM solutions often come equipped with built-in providers like Microsoft Active Directory, Entra ID, or Okta. But what happens when your organization is still using a legacy system or an identity provider that doesn't have built-in support? It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, right? With Any Identity, you don't have to settle for those limitations. You have the freedom to create custom PAM providers using PowerShell, allowing you to integrate seamlessly with almost any system, whether it's a legacy application, a homegrown solution, or even a third-party platform like a Salesforce or a Zoho. You can discover and manage those privileged accounts as well. Interested? Well, I thought you would be. Let's switch on over to my screen and let's see it in action. Okay. In my example today, I have a Microsoft SQL database for a fictitious warehouse that we own. It's populated with various content, warehouse info, users, roles, etc. Now, inside the database, I know that there are several admin accounts that have higher privileges. These are prime targets for malicious actors. So I want to be able to manage them as privileged accounts in my Devolutions server. To do this, we'll be using an Any Identity provider, which will discover accounts and make them available to manage a Devolutions server. For the sake of time, I've already created the Any Identity provider template and we'll be importing it later on, but we have documentation on our website on how to create them. We also have several available on our GitHub repository, and we'll also be showing how to create them in upcoming videos. So let's get started. As you can see here, I'm in my SQL database and I want to start by creating a query to isolate those admin accounts. I'm going to do so by using the admin role that I currently have in my database. So here are my 3 admins, and while I'm here, I'm going to just highlight this password hash field, as I will be referring to this later on in the video. Switching on to Devolutions Server in the administration screen, we'll go to Privileged Access, Providers, and Any Identity Templates to import a new template. Click on Import, and let's bring in that warehouse database JSON file that I've already created. And now we have our Any Identity template on the screen. And we have 3 options checked. Password rotation, which will allow for updating passwords when necessary. We have the heartbeat, which verifies if stored passwords match the current ones. And then we also have account discovery, which helps to identify and catalog privileged accounts. Here in the provider properties, we have several fields to work with, which will give us all the flexibility we need to interact with our database. Obviously, this will vary greatly depending on what kind of provider you're trying to create. Next up, in account properties, these are specific for each imported account. So we need a unique identifier, our user ID in this case, which we'll use in the account discovery phase. And we've also got username and password fields. Then we have our 3 individual actions, the password rotation, which in this case will have all these parameters passed along with the new password item from the provider and the account. And as we scroll down, you'll also see the PowerShell script here, which we'll dive into more in a future video. Then the heartbeat function works similarly. It passes all of the connection parameters we need, and it also checks that the 2 password hashes match, the one from Devolutions Server and the one from our database. Finally, account discovery, which is used during the scan discovery phase, which pulls in accounts and allows us to choose which ones we want to import and manage in the DVLS PAM vaults. Once that's set up, we save it, and now we have a custom template ready to go. Let's head back to providers, and then we'll create a new provider based off of our freshly created Any Identity warehouse template, and hit continue. Now for this section, I'll speed it up, but essentially we're going to fill out the necessary values for this particular database, matching it to align with our table structure. So after filling everything out, we'll leave some settings like the add PAM vault checked, but add scan configuration, we're going to do that later ourselves. Now for my example, I do also need to set up the run as functionality, which lets us run a PowerShell script on a remote server rather than on our Devolutions server directly. I'm also going to set the PowerShell configuration to PowerShell 7 since that's what I'm using, and then we'll click save. With everything saved, our warehouse database PAM Vault is good to go. If we jump on over there, we should see that it's empty right now and ready to be populated. So we'll head on over to the Privileged Access section and then scan configurations. And then we will add a new scan configuration based off of our AnyIdentity warehouse database provider. So here I'm going to name this warehouse admin accounts, and the action is set to start scan on save, which is great. And we will let it do its thing. And there we go, it's done. Here we have 3 results. If I click on it, I can then select which admin accounts that I want imported, which is all of them, and then select the import. And then I have to tell it where it's gonna go. The destination folder is the warehouse database. And I do want password rotation to occur on import and on check-in. So I left those 2 boxes checked. There we go. Let us import those and see if it worked. Okay, looks like we have success. If I head on over to the warehouse database PAM Vault, and all 3 of my admins are there. Now, if I want to check the heartbeat of this S. Scott account, I can use the check synchronization status, and it'll verify that it is accessible. Then to demonstrate that the password rotation is actually a success, I'm going to go over to my SQL database. You'll see that S. Scott's password hash starts with a 5A. So we'll go back into Devolutions server and we'll select reset password, click yes, let it do its thing. And if I go back to the SQL database, you'll notice it changed to a B. So we have a successful password rotation. So to recap, with AnyIdentity, you have the power to manage those privileged accounts across all your systems right at your fingertips. Now, if this piqued your interest, you'll want to check out the blogs written by our product marketing team, which give a deeper dive into the subject. Also, stay tuned for more videos on AnyIdentity and how to build your own PAM providers. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content just like this one. Thanks for watching.